Well, it's the largest Israeli military operation in the occupied West Bank since the October 7th attacks. That's significant by itself. And the IDF's justification for this, they say, is a Islamic Iranian terrorist network. They're alleging that Iran is managing to get weapons into fighters there in the West Bank, weapons and supporting them financially as well to carry out attacks. They are not making an explicit connection between a suicide bombing here in Tel Aviv a little more than a week ago, in which just the bomber was killed, but they are mentioning that as a example of the threat that Israel is facing from these kinds of attacks. Now, Hamas's reaction to this has been quite strong. It is calling for a mobilization of Hamas fighters in the West Bank to respond. So it has the potential not to escalate into a broader conflict in the West Bank between Israeli forces and Hamas fighters and other affiliated groups. And at the same time, of course, when you still have the war going on unabated in Gaza. So it's a real escalation, and it's one we're watching closely, and it's not clear now how long it's going to continue.
Fans may have wondered if they'd ever see Noel and Liam Gallagher play on stage together again. But 15 years after their feud broke up one of the UK's biggest bands, a reunion for the brothers is definitely maybe on the cards. Oasis will tour the UK and Ireland next year. The group announced it on Tuesday, and industry insiders expect tickets to sell out within minutes as fans clamour to hear hits like Supersonic live. Oasis shot to fame in the 1990s as part of the so-called Britpop era. The band's debut album, Definitely Maybe, released 30 years ago this week, was the start of a journey that saw Oasis become one of the biggest bands in British history. Analysts say the Gallagher brothers could make millions of dollars when tickets go on sale this Saturday. The band will play 14 dates across Britain and Ireland, and they say they plan to play more dates outside Europe later next year. Fans may be speculating how long the truce will last, though. Max Foster, CNN London.
An ancient artifact, which experts say was at least 3,500 years old, is now destroyed. It's in pieces after a 4-year-old accidentally knocked it over. It happened last week at a museum in Israel. The museum says the Bronze Age era jar was displayed near the entrance without a glass case, part of an effort to make some artifacts more accessible. I bet you that's going to change. The boy's father told the BBC his son pulled at the jar because he wanted to see what was inside, obviously. A museum official says it will use the jar's restoration as an opportunity to educate the public.